So sweet. There's so many of them between the feeder and the sunflowers that are starting to die. They land on them and pick all the seeds off. I love them. They truly make me happy. They're just so precious. My hummingbirds are bullies. They fight each other. For whatever reason is, the hummingbirds here do not allow a group of them to feed together. Only one at a time. It's time to fertilize. I use Agri-Thrive. It stinks to the high heavens. It's certified organic. I don't know that it is all organic, but it's certified. It's the fish emulsion, general purpose. But it stinks so bad, it makes my yogi jump up here to see just what's happening. And this is a 2-gallon watering can, so I put, it's a half a cup to a gallon, so I do a cup. And I'll need to do this for 6 gallons worth for my garden. Oh, it's stinky, and I do it down here because I don't want it to drip on there and stink up the table. I use my gardening chopsticks. I use these chopsticks to push down weeds and plant seeds, make holes for them. Alrighty. Let's go water the garden. Alrighty. Let's talk about what's going on in here. So, these are my jalapeno. And if you see a rat trap, I apologize. They're there. The jalapenos are starting to spruce up flower-wise, blossom-wise. And they're doing better. You can see there's jalapenos, but I did lose about 6 of them on both the jalapeno, which is in the tomato bed, and this little jalapeno, and my Craig's Grande to the rats. But my tomatoes, those two just look like a mess. This guy is growing nice. He actually has some flowers. That's the first blossoms I've seen since June. I kid you not, these tomatoes have been here since the end of June. And here's some more. But they're struggling. All these plants, oh, I see some blossoms over there too. This one is my zucchini. This zucchini didn't do as well as my zucchini last year. I only planted one, because really I can't eat that much zucchini. None of us can. And last year, I froze up 4 bags of different kinds. Chunk, slice, breaded for frying, and shredded for bread making. Plus I made 2 loaves and froze 1. This one's only given me about 4 zucchinis. Beans are a bust. I still haven't decided if I'm going to keep these here. There's some blossoms, but there's not a bean to be seen. Oh, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. No beans. And it's doing okay. It's still getting cooked. Now, see, like that's the big jet star. He's doing well, but, and I see 1 tomato back there. The tomatillos are a crazy bush. I don't get big tomatillos from it, but I've been getting them, and I pop them in the freezer, and when I have enough, I'm going to make my green salsa. There's 1 alpaca tomato, but the plant itself looks beautiful. I have to tie it up again. It's actually growing outside the cover. Look how beautiful my peppers look. And finally, it looks like we may have turned a corner, and they are holding on to their blossoms, and they are giving fruit. That's a Marconi there. He has no blossoms yet. And this is the Reaper that my son gave me a pepper, and I harvested the seeds. The plant itself is beautiful, but there's no blossoms yet. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Melons, oh boy. That vine, it's gone crazy. But anyway, this is the alpaca. And man, it's gotten so tall. It is huge, but I don't see any blossoms on this. I see a lot of growth, but no blossoms. So we're gonna have to see. Anyway, first of all, the ants have taken over my garden. They wind up crawling all over me. They're all in here. I just picked a watermelon that was laying there. I guarantee you it's gonna be pink, white, and disgusting inside. I just don't think it was pollinated well, is the only thing I could figure, because this is black diamond, and they're supposed to be large and oblong, and these little things are round like sugar baby, and so that's what makes me think it's not going to be good. See it over there? I mean, it's big, but it's not what it's supposed to be. This bed's going to get redone. These are my strawberries, and they're looking well. You can see they're putting out runners. Every time the lawn is mowed, I add grass clipping. It makes the hugest difference. When you scrape it away, the dirt around the plant is moist. I mean, look at this. These are 4 vines in each corner, and this thing is nuts. Like I said, I did about 6. I cannot see them. I don't know where they are. they just, after I pollinated them, they just disappear into the vine. So I don't know where they went. There's plenty of flowers. This guy was struggling. I don't know. It looks like whatever happened, that happened to this one, then happened to this. But this guy, I gave it some blood meal. A week later, he looked great. I might have to, well, I just fertilized them today, so we'll see. I'm trying to see if there's even one of the melons, but I'm not seeing any. And if they were pollinated, they'll turn up as they grow. Corn was an utter bust, so I cut most of them out. I'll cut those ones out too. And I tied them up into 2 groups, I guess you'd call them, 2 bunches, and they'll be my fall decor on the porch. This is that egg zucchini, I think it's called. I've gotten 3 of them. There's a flower there, but he's not putting out any girl flowers right now. These eggplants, nothing. There's blossoms. They won't stay. As a matter of fact, that blossom probably just, let me see, is it on or is it off? Nope, just fell off. See? I have 1 teeny tiny eggplant here. 1. And that's the heat. That is the heat. Look at the sunflowers. I've been cutting them, but the birds all land on it and eat the seeds. So, it looks good. Everything's green. Everything's lush. And while it may look good, it struggles. Also, spotlights. Why? I have to light the beds up like a ball stadium so that the rats stay away. I don't think I'm going to keep that bean there. I have some rearranging to do, and we're going to talk about some of that and what took place here a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to show you the sad story of pumpkins. So far, 2 pumpkins. And to be honest, I don't think they've grown any bigger. I think they've been this size probably for, maybe I'm wrong, but at least 2 weeks. I don't think they've grown an inch. But you can see, these guys are just in survival mode. And I've just watered them. There is no female blossoms. There are a lot of male blossoms. And there's bees like crazy. The bees go into the flowers and it's like they go to sleep. It's so cute. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I got going on over here. And I'm going to show you just what part of my problem is. By the way, this is our compost bin. And it is the most lovely smelling thing. And I'm not kidding. It smells like beautiful dirt, soil. It's doing very well. This is our hydrangeas. This guy here, I don't think he's going to make it. Hydrangeas need to be in partial shade. He'll be in the sun probably for the next couple of hours. But that's called my stubbornness. So these are my new, and I'm going to water them. These are my new heat-tolerant tomatoes and cucumber, because 2 years in a row I have not been able to grow cucumber. These are Castelluto Fiorentino and Castelluto, Oh, Lord help me. It starts with Genovese. They're in the beefsteak family. They are heat tolerant. They're great slicing, excellent sauce. This one is a New Zealand pink paste, heat tolerant. This is a Bushmaster heat tolerant cucumber. But these are the second group of Jet Stars I started. And we'll see if I can get a second run on tomatoes. But we're going to talk about what took place here in a second. Hey friends, this is the next day after my garden tour. For whatever reason, it didn't record very well as not being able to hear me. I really need to get a microphone for this camera. But I'm going to tell you the story of my almost breakdown in my garden. I think it was last week. I had went into the garden and I was very pleased because it looked like nothing was eaten. And I'm looking, I said, oh, this is awesome. And then I turn around into my pepper bed that has just the peppers, nothing else. And I see my beautiful Arvarsky pepper was chewed to smithereens. That sucker didn't even take it off the plant. He left it on the plant to taunt me. And it was only by God's grace that I didn't flip out, because my initial instinct was to rip every plant out of the garden. Such a feeling of anger and defeatedness came over me, I just wanted to start shredding. And I ran over to the plants, I pulled the pepper off, and instead I ran inside. In the meantime, I'm trying not to cry, because you feel like you've really lost. And I showed it to my husband, and I said, I give up. I said, they win. They win. I said, I cannot do this anymore. Because of our zone 9B, and 9B encompasses a lot of area, parts of Florida, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and from north to south of California. Now, I'm in desert 9B. And so I'm fighting tough temps and a really blazing sun every day. Every day it's 95 degrees, 95, 95, 95. We'll have 100, 103. Now that we're in August, it's going to be 104, 106, 110, sometimes 112. We had my daughter's bridal shower in this backyard. It was the hottest weekend of the summer. It was 112 in this yard, and all the guests were dripping. I had rented a tent, we had misters, but August is pretty brutal. And so I have the shade cloth up 24/7. So 50% of these issues that I'm having is my fault. The other 50% are these damn rodents. They've taken half of my harvest. I have about, I don't know, maybe 10 tomatoes in my freezer. We've probably used for slicings and salads, I'd say maybe 5 tomatoes, maybe 6. And I've lost the rest of my tomatoes to rats and peppers. So half of everything I'm picking, rats are also eating. I just lost my mild jalapenos, probably about 4 of them. The spicy jalapenos, those stinking things, they don't pull them off. They take one bite, realize they're hot, and then what good is it? I'm not going to harvest a rat-bitten jalapeno. So the other issue is I'm stubborn, and I should have did my homework, and I should have chose tomatoes that were heat tolerant and not tomatoes that I wanted to grow. So between that and this wall is, it holds the heat. The sun beats it all day long. Well, not all day long. Once the sun comes up, it'll get the wall by the garden and it'll cook it for a good 5 hours. It gets hot. And we made the mistake of putting the trellises right up against the wall, which the heat is reflecting onto the tomato vines. So, and not only that, this wall gives the rats cover because the trellises are leaning against the wall and the plants are all full, and so the rats will come behind it and they feel safe. So I'm going to be moving the tomato plants to outside beds. That's what I did with my corn, even though the corn was a bust. But they didn't try to go on to the corn. Last year, not that the corn was any better last year. Last year I think I got 5 ears of corn. But rats, because it was against the wall, rats ate probably 3 of my corns, which again, I hand pollinated, just like I hand pollinate my zucchinis and I hand pollinate my watermelon. I went with a piece of paper and shook the tassels to get the pollen, and then I took my little paintbrush and sprinkled it all over the silks. You really feel just like you've lost everything. You're like, oh, give me a break. But my stubbornness also makes me not a quitter. So after my initial, I said, nope, I'm not going to let these stinking things get me. I did some research online, found those heat-resistant tomatoes, and I'll put pictures in the video. They're beautiful tomatoes. They're in the beefsteak family, the Cazzaluto Genovese and Fiorentino. They're nice, big, meaty ones, excellent for slicing, and it said excellent for sauce, which is what I want to do. I just want to harvest and cook food, make food for my family. And the New Zealand paste is heat tolerant, as well as the cucumber. I have no idea why. 2 years now I haven't had any cucumbers. I lie. I got 2 cucumbers and then the plants died. I'm watching all my birds. They're just so nice. So it's very important to know your zone. Now, a plus of this zone is my first frost is until December 15th, I think. I can grow food. Actually, I could grow food into the winter because some of the brassicas don't care about frost. But my garden can be almost year-round. I don't do it year-round because you get tired after a while, and so you do want to take somewhat of a rest. And so I just kept up with the lettuces. I mean, Thanksgiving, we had Caesar salad with garden lettuce. It was unbelievable. But I'm hoping I'll be able to get a second round of tomatoes. Another question I had asked, because I belong to the Zone 9B Facebook group, was what if, instead of starting my garden in May like most of the country, what if, being in Zone 9B, we started it in August? And someone said, if a lot of us do a second garden in August, try it. So I'm contemplating that as well. Instead of planting things out in May, maybe planting them out in August. So we'll see. Oh, also, another really silly mistake. we have a sprinkler that runs along this wall, and it goes into the flower bed, but we don't, I think it's because the dog kept breaking the sprinkler, so we just capped it. And my husband said, well, do you want me to continue it into the garden and put the timer on it? Oh no, I'll do like the square foot gardener, and I'll fill my little can up and water it all by hand. Unless you're in a container garden, or maybe 2 beds, having to water, I think we have 9 beds now, by hand, when it is super hot, gets to be too much and gets to be hard to keep up with because they need that water. So we're also going to run the line, and we're going to put drip tape in each bed so that the plants are getting a consistent amount of water all the time. And that takes away splitting, blossom end rot, because it's consistent versus, you know, I'm giving it my best shot here, and they seem to be doing fine, but having the drip tape will make life much easier. So if you can do it, do a watering system so you don't have that issue. It's so funny when I think about growing up in Brooklyn. All the gardeners, I was in an Italian neighborhood, they were all from Italy, and my father too would do it. They would mound they would make hills and put the tomatoes on the hills, and they would stand there with their hose. Everything you're told not to do. Don't water from above, blah, blah, blah. But they would do the gugatzil, which is those very long squashes that look like baseball bats. And they would have the most prolific gardens. And that's what I did, because that's what I knew. My father would sit in the yard with his hose, and everything grew amazing. You know, we didn't walk around and go, oh, what's this fungus on this tomato? No, it didn't happen. Probably because of the zone, it just was a good garden, and all these other gardeners had a lot of luck with it. What was done there doesn't work here, so know your zone. And don't give up, because you got this. I have to turn you around. You guys have got to see this. And I have to fill it up again already, because I want to do it slow because I don't want them to run away, fly away, run away. Listen to me. They're so nice. They really are. And they come there and they eat and they drink some water. And then I have my 2 hummingbird feeders that I think I could have 10 of them. My hummingbirds are gangster hummingbirds, and they don't like to share. You're only allowed 1 hummingbird at a time is allowed to drink. If another hummingbird dares to come near it, the others will chase it off. Alright, well, hopefully I'll still be in frame after I turn you back around to me. I need to invest in a microphone. This has a weird hookup. It's not wireless, and it's not the HDMI. It has one of those weird plugins. And so I'm going to have to go on a hunt for that too. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Oh, I'm here talking to all of you, and some of you may have never watched. My name is Paula, and my channel is The Flavorful Home. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. I kind of do a little bit of everything here. Gardening, cooking, baking, crafting, which after this boudel, I did some Christmas crafting to soothe myself, because these are the different things I do. Next up, it's crocheting. I have to crochet my daughter a bat. So I do a lot of different things, but there will be another video coming up in the Italian classic recipes. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a favorite. So this is going to sound corny and cliche, but under the circumstances, with the uncertain times that we're in, choose joy. Choose it. You'll feel better for it. And find it in the little things in your life, your home, your family. Grow some flowers, grow a small vegetable. You'll feel good. So until next time, choose joy. Thank you for visiting. Bye-bye.